Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday yet again, which is why we're going to be getting back to Halo the 2nd. So, one thing to point out about Halo the 2nd is, while it is a very good game, in fact, having played it again for this stream, I have a greater appreciation for it. The biggest problem with Halo 2 is, unfortunately, just the fact, you can tell in many places that they had to make some concessions to that 10-month development time, and this level right here is exactly where you can see that, because we're about to take a ride on an elevator underwater to reach another area for some reason. I heard a guy with a battle rifle, I think, and if I did, he needs to give me that battle rifle. No, I think, yeah, I guess he's gone somewhere, but it's like, this is where they've got to try to figure out, hey, you got a battle rifle. Aw, crap. Because I didn't switch that out, so I'm stuck having no ammo for that thing. So, this is one of those things where they stick you in an elevator so they can pad out the game time, because this makes no sense. Why is there... Yeah, you got the music, but why are you going underwater?
Secure transmission from Regret's carrier to something called High Charity. It seems to be a formal apology to the prophets of truth and mercy. Apparently, Regret jumped the gun when he attacked Earth. He's asking the other prophets to forgive his premature arrival, arguing that no human presence was foretold. That explains why there were so few ships in his fleet. But it's odd a prophet would have such bad intel about his enemy's homeworld.
So yeah, see, that's a major thing right there. I mean, they don't know what High Charity is, but we saw High Charity in First Strike. But yeah, this is a thing to pad out the game time, because they don't have a lot of time. So we're just going to shove you in an elevator. Why they need to do that, who knows? Why would they design that? Clearly this isn't a kludge done by the Covenant, but whatever. And hello, Emperor Snake. And YouTube is annoying like that. And I'm glad you had a very good birthday. T2 arcade machine. Not bad. I remember back when... Wait, hold on. Audio quality isn't the best. I'm not surprised. You know, I'm hearing, like, music in this, and I'm thinking my phone's going off. It's like, why is my phone going off? But, yeah, T2 Arcade. I remember having to sit on a bar stool because I was too short to actually reach the controllers. Ah, the old days. But, yeah, see, like, that's one of those things where that elevator thing, like, you can really tell that they were really pressed for time at that point. Really, though, when I do the review later this year, I'm going to be very, very not happy. I can think of the word. Ugh. I'm going to have a lot of praise for this game, I should say. Appreciative, that's the word I'm thinking of. Very appreciative of this game, because it is pretty good. It's not the best first-person shooter ever made, of course. It didn't really change first-person shooters very much. But for 10 months, it's still a damn fine game. It's easy to see why it got as popular as it did. I guess it did kind of change first-person shooters in terms of, like, multiplayer, but, well, I don't really care much about that. Oh, dearie me. When it comes to Texas, it is now hot yet again. 100-degree days. I was out in the garage painting some Mandalorian armor pieces. And holy crap, I was absolutely just drenched in sweat. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing a dry run of putting on that costume, the Master Chief costume, as quickly as possible. Oh crap. Zap him! Thank you, plasma pistol. I need to get some cover. It's a cover-based shooter, right? But yeah, I gotta try to get into that Master Chief costume as quickly as possible, because it is going to be hot, and I do not want to, like, be drenched in sweat before I even get into the convention hall. 6-pack of Mountain Dew Typhoon. I don't actually drink sodas anymore. I used to all the time, but these days... Actually, I say I used to all the time. I used to on a somewhat consistent basis. But about 20 years ago... Oh dear, actually it was less than 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. It'll happen to you. Oh yes, it will happen to you, ladies and gentlemen. Or one day, something you did that doesn't seem like it was that long ago will be that long ago. I actually weaned myself off of drinking Diet Cokes, which is probably why I don't have cancer, among other things. Because that's all I used to drink was Diet Coke. I'm really not sure how I drank such disgusting crap, but I stopped drinking that and went to pretty much just water. And to this day, it's just pretty much water or maybe tea. I actually lost quite a bit of weight when I did that. Not that I was ever particularly fat. Yep. I knew that guy was going to die thanks to that bloody sword elite. The bested. These days, I just don't really like sugary drinks all that much. That being said, it's not like when I go out to eat or something, I'm just going to get tea. Although, here's something kind of funny. When, like, you first become an adult, you might be tempted to act like you're more mature than you really are. Let me put it this way. Don't stop drinking, like, sodas just because you want to look like you're, mature. I used to do that, where I would literally drink tea. Just fucking tea when I went out to eat, so I'd look adult. It's like, oh dear, that's not really how being adult works. But with that in mind, though, Star Trek Strange New Worlds is still going pretty good. We got the closest thing we're probably ever going to get to 40k. I'm not going to bother killing those hunters. Just because I want to finish this game. Actually, you know what? We got to try to kill those hunters. What am I saying? It's like, it's an enemy. We got to kill him. But yeah, Strange New Worlds has what is essentially a 40k inspired, and by inspired I mean it is a ripoff. Although the various YouTube channels are saying it's a ripoff of some book I never heard of. Ooh, I think I see an elite there. No, it's not an elite. What is that? Oh, it's just a random set dressing. But yeah, people complaining that it's a ripoff of some book I never heard of, but it is 40k. Basically, you have a kid instead of, well, the immortal god emperor of mankind. Where'd those hunters go? Pussies. How do they even fit through that door? That's a better question. But, yeah, basically there's this society. Oh, come on, I shot. Ooh, I fucking eradicated him. I totally meant to do that. I totally meant to do that. It was totally planned. But with that in mind, that Strange New Worlds episode was basically 40k. Essentially, there's this advanced civilization, doesn't know how its own technology works, and they have to power their anti-grav system with a child literally strapped into the golden throne. The throne is even gold. It's like, it is such a 40k ripoff, it's not even funny. But, considering what happened with the Halo TV series, can you imagine how bad the Warhammer series is going to be? I mean, if it was just as bad as, like, say, Judge Dredd, 1995, I could live with that. You know, it's like, the Imperium means freedom for humanity. That was the Emperor's plan. It's like, and somehow you get Rob Schneider in on that. Rob Schneider as a Space Marine. Now that would be interesting. Old hard drive doesn't work. Well, that's annoying. Majority of the artwork. Oh, that's not fun. Yeah, that is why you want to always have as many backups as possible. I've been screwed by that. A lot of my early videos died that way. This is the only time we'd ever have active camouflage for grunts. What's kind of weird is in Halo Infinite, grunts can now melee attack, whereas here they cannot. Get back here, you little bastards. Strange New Worlds is keeping its quality. They're going to introduce the, I almost said Typhon. They're going to reintroduce the, oh, what are they called now? Those fucking silica things. See, now that I thought they were the Typhon, I now want to keep calling them Typhon, but they're not. Certainly not the Borg. Oh, goddammit, what's the name of it? The Tholians, there we go. It started with a T. The Tholian Web. Which I think is kind of... They're gonna have to do, like, finally admit that this isn't the prime timeline, because, like, they're introducing everything way too early. But it's not surprising. Because they want to touch all the Trek beats, which is fine. Because at least Trek is Trek, finally. The Orville is going on pretty well, too. It's remarkably not terrible. But the Orville's no longer funny anymore, which is fine. They're trying to be more serious now, but there is some stupidity going on.
Just received a response from High Charity. A very well encrypted message from the Prophet of Truth. Listen to this. Your haste has jeopardized the fulfillment of our covenant, threatened our grand design. That you shall be spared a public display of our contempt is thanks only to Mercy and his wise counsel. Truth, Mercy, Regret. 3 prophet hierarchs. Killing Regret should shake up the covenant leadership. But frankly, it sounds like you might be doing Truth a favor.
And no, I'm not going to be watching the Xbox showcase. I don't really care about any of that stuff. It's all just marketing guff. There are a few games that I am looking forward to. There's apparently the Dead Space successor. I keep forgetting what that bloody thing is called. So we'll have to see if that is actually any good when it finally gets released. Recently I've been playing a couple games. I'll get back to the Orville in a moment. I've been playing a couple of games that, one I hadn't even heard of, called Hellpoint, which is basically Dark Souls, but space. And it's remarkably good. I like how the Halo theme is now a song in the Covenant. But yeah, Hellpoint is Dark Souls, but space, and it is a complete ripoff of Dark Souls, which is fine. Actually, it's not necessarily a complete ripoff of Dark Souls. It's also a bit of a ripoff of Elden Ring, because you can jump around. It has a really nice cosmic horror design to it, and it has a bit of a broken thing to it, though, where your shield bash will immediately stun lock just about every enemy.
That is the prophet's age-old. It shall be fulfilled.
I don't think
Great
that's...
journey. Doesn't he know what these rings do?
No, he doesn't, or he doesn't care. Technically, Truth does know, but doesn't actually care, because he had no intention of doing it anyway, but whatever. Indiana Jones, we'll see. Machine Games kind of annoyed me with their, horrible Wolfenstein thing they created with Blasco. Oh, crap! I just launched myself off the map. That was awesome! I did not mean to do that, but I'm glad it was recording when I did it. Oops. We shall just have to see what happens with any sort of modern game. I just don't really care that much about, which is precisely why I'm reviewing a modern game later this month. But whatever, it's an indie game. But Hellpoint has pretty good gameplay. The shield bash is broken; will let you stun lock anything, which I really quite like because some of the bosses can be a bit difficult. And I finally decided to give not Halo Infinite, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare a try. Evidently, everybody hated it when it came out, but it actually plays remarkably well. The graphics are pretty crap, though, for a PC release. I actually have that Indiana Jones game for Super...
Chief. I'm nearly out of fuel. We've secured the first tower cluster, so I'll set down there. Call when you're ready for evac.
I actually have that Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures. I never actually finished it, though, just because it is a bit difficult. It's one of those games where you need, like, all the save states. The shotgun in this game is kind of worthless. Just give me the battle rifle. I think I've actually been killed by these things before. This seems like a really inefficient way of delivering cargo, but whatever. Marines, why are you here? You're just gonna die. It's like... I almost feel bad for these guys. Hey, it's what they signed up for, right? But, yeah, Hellpoint's pretty good. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is remarkably good in that you actually get into the gameplay really fast. And the story looks pretty stupid, though. It has the typical super evil villain that shoots his own men. It's like, really? Outside of, like, terrorist organizations, killing your own men, not a good way to keep them loyal. But then again, it is a video game done by, in modern-day Infinity Ward, so it's not surprising it would be that stupid. But if you want a good Souls-like game, Hellpoint is it, because it actually gets the gameplay right. When so many Souls-like games just can't quite get that gameplay to where it plays just right. But back to Orville. Orville has definitely gone a darker route, but unfortunately, there's a lot of logical issues in Orville at the moment. Like, one of the characters gets infected by some kind of space disease, which could have easily been avoided if these idiots had, you know, space suits on. It's like, if you're going into an unknown alien ship, you probably should have, you know, a suit and not just your deck uniform, but whatever. It's just one of those things. Well, Agnostic Librarian, I think your punishment will be you have to watch an episode of ObiWan. You just have to watch that. That'll make up for being late. Evidently, ObiWan's is bad. I don't really care because, well, it's Disney Wars, and it's yet another prequel. And if I want to know what ObiWan was doing, I can literally just read the novel Kenobi by John Jackson Miller, which is one of the last EU books. When I did read it a number of years ago, from what I remember, there were a lot of things that Mandalorian ripped off.
So far, so good. We're approaching the main
So
temple now.
I'm not too surprised about that, though,
I'm as close
because there's
to
a lot of
the library as I
rip-offs
can get.
from.
There's some sort of barrier. We're trying to find a way around it. I'll keep you posted.
T600. Yeah, T600 isn't too bad.
Got another contact.
Holy crap! No wonder I almost died. Damn it! You know, I don't know why they cheaped out on the, you know, ability to lock on. I mean, modern technology lets us do that, much less for future space tech. And yeah, from what I've heard, it is supposed to basically be the Last Jedi of the Star Wars TV shows. Once again, not surprised. I mean, they have to take down the old heroes, so the new heroes. Evidently, there's some sort of controversy about the actress playing one of the villains. It sounds like it's very much manufactured, but since I'm not watching the show, I honestly don't care. I have not done any GoldenEye speedruns. That game's hard enough as it is, much less trying to go fast through it. I mean, I owned it back in the day and have the mod that lets you play it with the mouse and keyboard. Most of the Sarah Chronicle. Honestly, I like the big chain gun though from Salvation. Before the T900s, I do not remember what those things look like. I've not really done anything Terminator recently. Last time I actually cared about Terminator was when I did that Resistance review. Evidently, there's some DLC for that, but I've not really cared too much about it. God damn it. Well, I have a problem with DLC, especially if it is like after a game has ended. It's like, just save it for the sequel.
That's the largest Covenant fleet I've ever seen. The largest anyone's ever seen. Get inside the temple and kill Regret before it can stop us.
Okay, so this is the moment. This is the moment right here. These two Marines, unfortunately, are probably going to die. Well, they most definitely will die. But they're here at the moment the war finally reaches a turning point. This is the moment where humanity actually can start fighting back, because once the Prophet of Regret is killed, literally by a punch to the face, what ends up happening is there's the Great Schism, which allows humanity a little bit of breathing room. If Master Chief had, say, died here, with how messed up the Covenant was, there's a good chance, well, there's a good chance that Earth would be destroyed. That everybody on Earth would have died. But enough of the outer colonies would likely have survived that humanity could have rebuilt afterwards.
Covenant fleet has launched multiple
All by
waves of phantoms. Too many for me to track. We don't have much time.
Grenade. Not grenade, rocket. Oh!
Guards all over this place. Watch your back.
But it's right here that everything changes by killing this one guy. And I'm glad it's Master Chief that actually delivers the blow that starts to really change everything.
Your very existence offends me, demon.
Wait, you talking about Kathleen Kennedy?
There's the target. Take him out.
What up, dude?
Surely you can...
Smack him! Smack him! Smack him! And that is how Master Chief basically saved all of humanity. Because by doing that, by literally punching...
Turning around, the fleet is preparing to fire on our position. We need to get out of here.
By punching that guy in the face, that changed everything. Really, if Master Chief died right here, that would be a pretty heroic ending for him because, well, the Great Schism changes the course of the war. Realistically, he should die right here. The sad part is, this is where we see that the 10-month development cycle happens because this is so... Master Chief has to be lucky here.
This is not your grave. But you are welcome in it.
Because if Gravemind wasn't there, Chief would be dead. But it would be a very heroic ending.
This is unprecedented. Unacceptable.
A hierarch is dead, Commander.
His murderer was within our grasp. If you had not withdrawn our phantoms...
Are you questioning my decision?
No, Holy One. I only wish to express my concern that the brutes...
Recommissioning the Guard was a radical step. But recent events have made it abundantly clear that the elites can no longer guarantee our safety.
I shall relay your decision to the Council.
Politics, how tiresome. Do you know, Arbiter, the elites have threatened to resign? To quit the High Council because of this exchange of hats.
We have always been your protectors.
These are trying times for all of us.
Even as the humans' annihilation filled us with satisfaction, the loss of one of the sacred rings racked our hearts with grief.
Putting aside our sorrow, we renewed our faith in the prophecy that other rings would be found, and see how our faith has been rewarded.
Halo, its divine wind will rush through the stars, propelling all who are worthy along the path to salvation.
But how to start this process? For ages we searched for one who might unlock the secrets of the rings. An oracle. And with your help, we found it.
With appropriate humility, we plied the oracle with questions, and it, with clarity and grace, has shown us the key.
You will journey to the surface of the ring and retrieve this sacred icon. With it, we shall fulfill our promise.
Salvation for all.
And begin the great journey.
Once the shield is down, we will head straight to the library. I do not wish to keep the hierarchs waiting. The human that killed the Prophet of Regret. Who was it? Who do you think? The demon is here? Why? Looking for a little payback? Retrieving the icon is my only concern. Of course.
All right, so I did not know that there was going to be a game called TechCom 2029. I'll have to check that out as well. Thoughts on Prey? I actually have a whole retrospective on Prey 2017 and 2006. Essentially, both games are quite simply amazing, although both are very different from one another. If I had to choose between the two, I would say that I prefer Prey 2017 just because it is an RPG, and the RPG genre is my favorite genre of gaming in general. Yeah, I primarily play a lot of first-person shooters, but there's a shit ton more FPSs than RPGs. Oh, the new Predator movie. There's a lot of things called Prey. The new Predator movie. I saw the trailer. There's one line that makes me very worried. It's like, I want to hunt not because I want to prove myself, but because you said I can't do it. It's like, what? Really? Why? Why? It seems like it's gonna have a feminid... Looks like it's gonna have a feminid message to it. We'll just have to see. And, you know, you never know. Maybe that's just one bad line in the movie. I mean, you could definitely get the feeling that The Batman would be a bad movie by one line in it, so maybe it'll be okay. It's one of those sad aspects, though, that we haven't had a good Predator movie since 2010. Over 12 years ago. I actually saw that opening night. The Predator wasn't as awful as some people make it out to be, but it certainly wasn't very good either. I wanted to like it, but I have not actually watched it since it came out.
Many of my brutes have fallen attempting to take it down.
And yeah, I mean, I remember when we thought Predator 2 was bad. I mean, Predator 2 didn't advance the franchise much, but at least it was entertaining. My biggest problem with Predator 2 is that random sex scene in the middle of it. Like, hey, let's watch Predator 2, and then you just got random sex. It's like, awkward. See, I don't mind. Well, actually, hold on. I'm not some kind of prude, but I really don't like sex scenes in movies, like movies especially like Predator 2. Because if you want to watch it with friends or may Yzmir help you, family members, it's like Predator 1 is like a movie for the whole family, and I'm not joking either, because it's entertaining. But you try to watch Predator 2, it's like, and you know that sex scene's coming up. You know it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna be there. And like, imagine trying to watch that with like your grandparents. And that happened to me once. It's like, what do you say? What do you do? It's kind of like Alien 5, not Alien 5, Alien Resurrection, which is actually the fourth movie, where you've got that queen giving birth. It's like, yeah, that's not awkward at all.
Overload the Lotz holding it in place.
It's like, thank you, Frenchie, and thank you, whoever directed Predator 2. It's like, why? It doesn't actually do anything.
Especially when their shields are up.
And like, it's a full-on sex scene too, with like the chick moaning and riding the guy. It's like, okay, but did we really need that? Come on, it just makes it so awkward. The rest of the movie's just like a regular action movie. It's like a regular, you know, police procedural with a Predator, and it's like, did we really need that? It's just, that is the worst aspect of Predator 2, really. It's like the sheer awkwardness of that scene. Let's see. 45 alongside. Oh yeah, all those attachments that had to be custom fitted to those guns, because back in the 90s they didn't have stuff like, you know, 1913 rails with the Film Society. Oh my. Strange Days. I vaguely recognize the title, but I don't really know what that is. So, like, with Game of Thrones, at least you have some idea of what you're getting into. Although Game of Thrones is just kind of boring. And then, like, evidently it got bad, but it's just one of those things. But Predator 2, man, it's like, or Alien, where you see a little bit of Ripley ass. It's like, that's not awkward at all, either. I love how in the commentary they don't even remark on it. It's like, I'd like to know why exactly... I'd like to know why exactly... Where do you see the power source? Oh, there it is. I thought you had to shoot that, but I think that's later on. But it's like, why do we need that little bit of Ripley ass? I'm just saying, it's like, that is awkward. And speaking of aliens, there has now been an Alien 3 William Gibson script number 1 novelization. I'm currently reading it. It's pretty bloody good. I've actually read the entirety of that script multiple times, and it's just a good story in general, and the book is quite good. However, they had to update it for modern times, though. They had to mention the cloud, because back in 91 when Gibson wrote that, the original script, obviously the cloud didn't exist. They had to mention touch screens and haptic controls and stuff like that. Basically, they had to update it for, you know, 2022 when it was finally released. It's kind of weird that it's already June. Like, what the hell happened to this year?
Blasted machines! Make your own way through the wall.
Zach, well, okay, at least with a title like that, you have some idea of what you're getting into. But like Predator 2, regular action movie, bam, random Colombian sex scene, just out of nowhere, you know. It was a very awkward moment. I had to like, oh yes, I have to go to the bathroom now. I will not be in here. Please do not pause the movie. It's just one of those things where I would not mind that scene have been cut out. There was also a random awkward nudity scene in the first episode of Stargate SG-1, where like they have Daniel Jackson's waifu like strapped to a table naked. I think they cut that out eventually, because like that really wasn't necessary either. Zap, 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 Brannigan. Need to go to see it regardless of my objections. Well, that is an awkward moment, I have to say. I have never seen that film, and I have to admit the title, it makes it sound pretty bad. Especially somebody named Zach or Miri. I don't know which name sounds the more generic. Well, it's good to know that an impossibly ancient machine made by extremely advanced aliens can be destroyed by a single frag grenade. Greatest Predator ever put to screen. The old... Yeah, he was pretty cool. The only problem with those Predators is they show up way too late. There's, of course, a scene on YouTube that should be fairly easy to find these days, where Danny Glover leads them all into a dance routine, which is kind of funny. And I do recommend watching SG-1. It's just a very hard series to watch because there's 11 seasons. 11 seasons! That's a show that makes me feel old. Because that series ended in 2007. Over 10... almost 15 years ago now. Zap up, zap up. It'll happen to you. It's like, holy crap, that was a long time ago. Just to put that in perspective, I actually ended up that was back when I first started my job at a local grocery store. And I couldn't actually continue watching the show because I had to work on Fridays. And so I literally had my grandfather tape the latest episode of Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. Sadly, the latter seasons weren't that great, and SG-1 does have a lot of logical issues. And after reading the fanfic SG-SCOM, it's kind of hard to go back to watching it, because since it's a TV show, they can't change too much because of budgetary issues. And so they don't really use their advanced technology like they should. And like with Orville, there's some things where if they just had a little bit of better planning, it would have actually had a better ending. But whatever. Smack him. God damn it, Flood. See, right here, I would like to know what happened to these humans, but since we're more focused on the Arbiter now, damn it. Yeah, I think he did die from cancer shortly afterwards. Which is quite sad. You know, that's one of the things that you'll recognize when you get older. It's the one thing I dislike about being old. And I'm not even that old. It's like all the cool actors that you grow up with are gonna die. You know, can you imagine those? There's gonna be a time when like all those MCU actors are gonna start dying off. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be dead soon because he's like already 80, I think, or at least in his late 70s. Which is kind of a morbid thing to think about, but like all these actors are gonna start dying off. People are gonna start dying off. It's the only thing about growing older that's kind of bad. Especially if you take care of yourself. It's just other people are going to die, which is not fun. Especially for them. Yeah, Kevin Peter Hall died really young. Like, remarkably young, sadly. But thankfully we're finally starting to get some halfway decent science fiction again. Halfway decent. Strange New Worlds is remarkably watchable, if only for the guy who plays, Pike. Pike is a remarkably likable character, especially, now that they made him a little less, stodgy. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was pretty awesome. I still need to watch Raw Deal. I've seen the 2-up scene a lot, but I haven't actually watched the show, or the film, I should say.
Proceed to the objective.
It's like seeing all those epic 80s guns.
Get her off me! Suppressive fire! Suppressive fire!
At least you never actually shoot humans, but it's one of those things where it'd be nice to know, like, how did they get here? I think it's, considering how good the Arbiter's campaign is, it's a worthy sacrifice to not know what happens to the humans.
Get her off me! Suppressive fire!
I mean, it's kind of implied what happens to them. Okay, let's actually switch back to the Magnums. It's kind of implied that this is sort of an all-or-nothing sort of thing. We don't necessarily need to know what happened, but it'd still be kind of nice to know. When I finally do this review, I am going to mention that all the stuff we don't get in this game is... God damn it. Now I remember how difficult this was. Was that something?
Get her off me! Suppressive fire! Suppressive fire!
I do not remember that. I just like the, more murders, more mutilations, kiss my ass, punch. The early 90s. It was like the 80s, only with more CD-ROMs. It's an interactive CD-ROM! Oh yeah, Jurassic World Dominion. I have no real interest in watching that just because I really didn't like Jurassic World. As far as I know, Dominion's gonna have a bunch of dinosaurs running around, which can easily be eradicated by modern weapons. I'm just saying, it's like, none of those dinosaurs, unless they are somehow missile-proof, are going to stand a chance against anything. Now, maybe in, like, California they might survive, but anywhere else, like Texas, they're all dead. I'm sorry, they're just dead. I mean, you give Texas people a, target-rich environment of giant dinosaurs, they're just gonna shoot them in the face with a lot of bullets. And, dinosaurs are not bulletproof. And you shoot, like, a T-Rex in the face with a .338 Lapua, it dies. It dies a lot. Although, that's greater justification for, implementing the M5, and that's just with regular civilian weapons. Like, you use, like, military technology, you're talking like a 30mm cannon? It's like, they die a lot. They're literal chunks. Who is Richard the First? Is it proven on the past films? Alright, we'll just have to see. I'm sure it's some post-apocalyptic thing where somehow the dinosaurs were able to, like, attack the factories, I guess? Louis Dodson? Oh, okay. I would have liked to have seen the, Jurassic Park with the dinosaur-human hybrid. See, that would be interesting. It's the extreme dinosaurs! Yes, the extreme dinosaurs were a thing from the 90s. Look up the intro. It's like the greatest thing ever. And I think they also ended up meeting up with the street sharks. And if you don't know what the street sharks are, it's basically a bunch of, like, muscle dudes that, like, got turned into sharks. On the streets! They would literally, like, somehow dig underground because they're sharks, and sharks dig underground. It was the 90s. It was awesome. I mean, there needs to be like a Street Shark movie, like the TMNT movie, which apparently the Out of the Shadows movie wasn't too bad. I'm not so sure about that. I think they got Krang in there, but that TMNT film was awful. Mainly because Megan Fox can't act or do much of anything else other than clean Michael Bay's car. And yes, that's a euphemism, and apparently she drinks human blood. Oh dear. Seems legit. Dinos 4570. I wanted to buy a 4570 at one point, but it's a nice caliber. It's big, takes down large game. Ruger now manufactures a modern day version of the Marlin Trapper, since they bought Marlin's designs. I actually just wanted a single shot 4570 just because it's cool, but just never ended up getting one. Zap, 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 Brannigan. Oh yeah, Mummy's alive. See, that's back when people had, you know, imagination. And they weren't beholden to ideology. I think of the Super 90s television shows, my favorite by far has got to be Captain Simian and the Space Monkeys. I don't really count like Batman. Batman the Animated Series is, you know, timeless, but Captain Simian and the Space Monkeys could only have been done back in the 90s. And Captain Simian was voiced by Jerry Doyle, the actor who played Mr. Garibaldi. Sadly, Jerry Doyle is dead, along with the vast majority of the cast of Babylon 5. Each one of them had, like, a really horrible death. Like, one of them died of, like, suicide. One of them had, like, one of the captains was, like, schizophrenic. It's like, one of them died in a motorcycle accident. I think, like, one of them had, like, or multiple had cancer. It's like, come on, don't let them die, they were all awesome! Dino Crisis movie. Although you sure you want a Dino Crisis movie, you might end up getting something like, those god-awful Resident Evil films. And hello, Wise Dragon. Oh, I imagine Street Sharks aged poorly. But see, if it aged well, it wouldn't be as fun to watch, I think. I like it when shows are remarkably silly. It's like, it's from Paradigm City. What state is Paradigm City in? Probably California. The Arbiter as a whole is a very good character. Seeing his growth from a religious zealot into somebody who actually questions his role in life was very cool. And I think he makes for a good foil to the Master Chief. And in some cases is a dark reflection of Master Chief, because Master Chief follows orders without question, just like the Arbiter did. And while I would like to have seen more Master Chief in this game, I think the emphasis on both characters was a worthy sacrifice. I cannot remember where I was supposed to go. I think I have to go through here, but I think... Oh, you have to kill that big thing. Okay. I could not remember. Smack him! Really? Busted. Where a Gigantosaurus crashed into a rising platform. I like the name Gigantosaurus. What is it? It's a Gigantosaurus! It's like, it's even bigger than a T-Rex. It's gigantic. Zap. I like how the Arbiter just holds this one-handed. Now, the fact that a human can go toe-to-toe with an Arbiter is not an easy feat. Sky Dancers and Dragonflies. Yeah, they're the same exact toy. I had a not a Sky Dancer, but a Dragonfly. Of course, whenever I played with those things, I always made that guy a villain, flying in to get shot in the face by, Han Solo. Because why wouldn't Han Solo shoot him in the face? It's kind of like Polly Pocket and Mighty Max, which was a remarkably dark show for a kid. I barely remember watching that, but it had like a mutant owl and some random muscle guy, from what I remember. Because mutant owls are awesome. Okay, that's where I was supposed to go. I should have actually been paying attention. See, the 90s had the best shit. I feel bad for all of you who were young and missed out on all the good stuff. Because, like, imagine if you had, like, science fiction and fantasy on TV every day and it was actually popular. You know, you don't get that shit anymore, that's for sure. Or it's gotta be super dark. I totally meant to do that. Mighty Max. It's like... Yeah, there's gonna be a retrospective later in the year. Probably August. Probably. This one's gonna take a little bit of time to do. I'm trying to decide if I want to dress up as Master Chief or not. If I did dress up as Master Chief, that would take a lot longer. And just don't have as much time as I would like to devote to that sort of thing. Exactly. There was a lot of toys in the 90s. You look at the toy aisle now, and yeah, I might be in my 30s, but I still go to the toy aisle now and again. And it's like next to nothing. Although, remarkably, some of the Aliens figures got a re-release, although I did not actually buy any, because meh. Besides, I already have the originals. Battletech toys, I did not know those existed. I never saw any of those. I do remember once getting, I don't think it was a Gunpla, but it was something similar to that. It was some kind of weeb toy, I still have it. I always referred to it as like Super RoboCop, because it had a whole bunch of weapons, like a plasma rifle, a shield, a sword, all kinds of crap like that. And that's one of those things about when you get old, like the places you used to go as a kid, not only don't exist, but literally the building and land it was on has been built over by something else. That weeb store I went to as a kid, a very young kid, not only has had the building demolished, but where that building was is now an HEB. Which is kind of sad. I'd love to know what that thing was, though. It's kind of like blue, like RoboCop. I don't know if it was supposed to be like a human-sized robot or not, or if it was like a small-scale Gundam.
Negative, ma'am. They are not Covenant. Cover that doorway.
Let's see. 90s Virginia ice cream trucks sell I had candy cigarettes as a kid. Along with the candy, the gummy. No, it was gum. It was gum. The gum cigars. Blue and pink for male or female. You can't have that anymore, can you? Yeah, HEBs are all over the place where I'm at. Would be the modern form of Toys R Us for our age group. A lot of awesome stuff. Speaking of awesome stuff, got a model of the Orville. It's actually quite nice. It's another Eagle Moss model. Very well detailed. Remarkably well detailed for the price and size. Okay, where the hell am I? Who am I? What am I? Why am I? This is being played on an Xbox 360. I do not have an original Xbox. Mainly because the one I had growing up long since has died. Let's see. Yeah, candy cigarettes. You can't get those anymore. Hell, even regular cigarettes are being banned. Okay, theoretically, Arbiter would literally crush his ankles if he fell this far. It's like, I think the music was like, oh no! But Arbiter, you know, he's got some nice ankles. Oh my. Arbiter, your ankles are just so no, we don't need any Arbiter slash fic. You know what the sad part is? I guarantee you that the Arbiter... Oh, well, that worked. Not really, because I still died. Nothing but Fortnite Nerf guns. Cookies and cream, Quick and Pringles fridges. Cookies and cream ice cream still exists. One thing that did come back from the dead was, not me, apparently. Okay, why the fuck did I keep dying from, like, 2 flood parasites? Like, what the hell? One thing that came back from the dead that I was afraid would stay dead forever was, Bluebell ice cream, which is a local Texas brand that, it's like the best ice cream in all of Texas. It's extremely expensive in comparison to everything else, but it actually stopped being manufactured for a few years due to the factory having something wrong with it. Well, I can't remember what it was. The best shit is pralines and cream. At least in my estimation it is. Any who doesn't like it must like Kathleen Kennedy. At least I'm gonna say that. Oh, God damn it. I'll blast you! Stop smacking me in the face! I'll just cloak. Wait, this is an AVP? So of course they can't see me. I like how in Halo 2 they introduced more vocalizations for the Flood. Why they'd randomly start growling. I think one of the things that made them extra scary was them being completely silent. But whatever. It's stylization. Max Payne. I primarily played that on PC, but back in the day I did play it on the Xbox along with the second one. Although I never got very far in the second one because I remember it being really difficult. And you couldn't quick save as far as I know. Max Payne is kind of weird in that it actually has a port for the Game Boy Advance that's remarkably not terrible. Cigarette flavored ice cream. Oh my. That would be... Well, when you have vomit flavored jelly beans, I'm not too surprised that cigarette flavored ice cream could exist. It's like vomit flavored jelly beans. I'm not really sure why anybody would want that to exist, but, well... I'll smash you. Well, not in that way. Just use a rocket. Why not? I mean, there's no such thing as overkill. You can't spell kill without overkill. Oh, smashy, smashy. It is so easy to accidentally kill those guys. Like you've been fighting Covenant for 2.5 games, and it's like all of a sudden you gotta suffer the Xeno to live. When they ask why slay the Xeno, I ask why not. Okay, one of you idiots is gonna take this rocket launcher. It's like a flying coffin. Oh crap. Oh. Here's a rocket. Not right there. Don't blow me up, you worthless cretin. Max Payne is still pretty good. Oh, there's quick saves in Max Payne 2? I don't remember that. But then again, that would have been over 20 years ago. The store brand chocolate chocolate flavored soda, huh? That sounds pretty heretical. I'm just gonna say that sounds like food has some very strange flavorings now. Why anybody'd want a chocolate? Ugh.
Well, Arbiter, don't exert yourself on our account.
Dude, aren't you supposed to have like a lot of respect for me? Dude, that was an easy way to get shot, but whatever. Alright, we're actually getting close, not into the end of the game, but about the midpoint. Because we're going to be betrayed by the obvious bad guy. Obvious villain. That didn't actually do anything in the Halo TV series because, embezzlement. Just zap him. It seems like a very inefficient plasma cannon, but whatever. The thing about Star Wars is that they have very inefficient. God damn it! Cheese flavored soda. Yeah, see, I never liked Nickelodeon. Hey Arnold and stuff like that was something I never liked watching. Like, I remember whenever I would scroll through channels, in the few instances that I actually had access to cable TV, the only one of those channels that I ever really liked was Cartoon Network. Everything else, not really. Nickelodeon just was not my thing. It was not something I had any interest in at all. Now, Cartoon Network, on the other hand, with its Ed, Ed, and Eddie and stuff like that, now that was worth watching. Iron Chef, Good Burger, and Krusty the Krab. Ah, crap! Krusty the Krab. Oh, it's Krusty Krab from that sponge thing. I've said it a million times. SpongeBob SquarePants was thankfully... Actually, even if it had existed when I was an actual kid, I still wouldn't have watched it. Because that looked like the stupidest shit ever. And I know it has its following. A lot of people love that show, but, yeah. It's kind of like people loving, Full House. The second that theme song came on, I immediately changed the channel or just stopped watching anything entirely. Because, good God, I could not stand stuff like that. And all those various Nickelodeon shows, especially the live-action shows, if I was scrolling, I'd scroll right past. And yes, Billy and Mandy was pretty good, but it was on the cusp of something that I actually liked. Like, it was on the cusp. Because it had a lot of weird stuff in it. Weird to the point where I just found it more boring or annoying than I actually found it entertaining. I remember Nickelodeon had a lot of teen dramas, and now all those teens are in their 50s. Do you feel old yet? I know I do. Most of those human interest shows just, well, they were human interest. It's like, who cares? Superhero, sci-fi. If it wasn't that, I didn't watch it. This is about as hard as I remember, because when you play the oh, God damn it, I knew I was going to do it. Yeah, Saved by the Bell, I would literally rather watch paint dry. Like, literally, I would rather watch paint dry. That's not an exaggeration. At least with paint dry, I'm not, attacked by idiocy. You know, I never noticed that before. That's pretty awesome. I never saw it shipped. Oh, wait, is that an Amberclad? No, it can't be an Amberclad. That doesn't look quite right. No, I think it is. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I think I played this game for years and I've never seen that. So I guess that's how an Amberclad crashes. Damn it, Leeds, I'm trying to give you a rocket launcher. Take the rocket launcher.
Praised the Arbiter. This quarantine zone has been compromised.
Thompson started off.
We must do what we can against the flood. Our
Front
commander
half.
has landed further in. Let us join him.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was also obvious that was a 2D sprite, but whatever. Now at least we know what happened to it. Because it was like, it always seemed kind of weird that an Amberclad would just show up on High Charity, but whatever. I guess that explains it. I love a game where you can actually miss stuff, because in modern games, they're so terrified of you missing anything. If this was a game made today, it's like, press X to look. Press X to just get completely raped by all the flood. But yeah, Kenan and Kel, I believe, is one of those shows. It's like, I would have had no interest back then, and no interest today. It's like, oh yes, it's the antics of two teenage people who, in my mind back then, would have had the intelligence of an artichoke. And Good Burger and stuff like that. Yeesh. That's one of those things where, even if there was nothing on, I still wouldn't have watched it. Is there some crap that I've watched that is on the cusp of being watchable, and if I have no choice, I will watch it. Like South Park or Family Guy. That's one thing I'm really happy about when it comes to the modern era. You don't have to watch pre-programmed crap anymore. Because you can have access to an endless amount of entertainment. And Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I watched that a little bit, by which I mean like 2 or 3 minutes worth, because I'm not really sure what the appeal was. It was just boring. It's like, it was so low-key, it was like, why am I watching this? Like, what the hell am I looking at? South Park I never really liked. If it was on and that was it, I'd watch it. But now it's like, there's a lot of shows that I hate, that I watched because I had nothing else better to do. But now in the future, I think to myself like, damn, I'm glad I don't have to watch that anymore. Like Family Guy. I should totally give this guy a pistol. Yes, I'll give you your plasma rifle. Haha. Look how small that pistol is in his head.
What are you doing here? We must hold this camp until reinforcements.
Let's see here. Beavis and Butthead. That's another one of those shows. That's another one of those shows where I would literally rather watch paint dry. Like, even the name annoys me. Beavis and Butthead. I think the game probably was offended by me saying that. It's like, even the name annoys me. So, yeah, there's no chance I would have ever watched that. Along with Ren and Stimpy. That was another show that people loved from the 90s that I never could stand. I have a very specific amount of, I have a very specific
what are you doing here?
Taste when it comes to shows. Give me your plasma rifle.
We must hold this camp until reinforcements arrive.
That 70s show wasn't too bad. Married with Children, you know, I liked it well enough, but it was all about the science fiction and superhero stuff as a kid and as an adult, so... Married with Children, once again, really on the cusp of something that I'd willingly watch. Like, just barely on the cusp. Because it just doesn't appeal to me. Wait, is there a flood actually controlling that?
I have done my part today.
Have you done your part today, Elite? Have you done it? And let's see, you're watching whose line is it anyway? See, that is something I would actually watch. Because that's actually legitimately funny. And I was somewhat fond of the Drew Carey show. It's rather amusing to see that Diedrich Bader, the guy who played the stupid guy, Oswald I think his name was, would later go on to be Batman. It's like, I did not expect that to happen. See, like, when Batman Brave and the Bold came out, there was actually a lot of hatred for that show. They said it was too funny, too silly. And yet, it now has a fairly large fan following. I loved it back when it came out. It was a fresh take on Batman, and Batman still wasn't really meant to be an idiot. Even Batman from the 60s wasn't meant to be an idiot. He was always the straight man. There's actually one scene that is kind of misinterpreted by the modern audiences, where Batman is kidnapped by the villain King Tut and has to dance the Batusi like he's been mind-controlled. But it turns out he wasn't mind-controlled at all and gets into a really poorly choreographed sword fight and escapes. Once again, Batman was still awesome. He was just in silly situations. See, Batman Beyond's pretty good, but it's very depressing. As an adult, I kind of just stick with the first 3 seasons of Batman, the animated series.
In the center of this zone is a sacred icon critical to the great journey. I must find it. We shall cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way. The parasite is not to be trifled with. I hope you know what you're doing.
Orville's like, do you always have to give a speech?
Forward, warriors, and fear not pain or
Or
death.
death.
Go, Arbiter. I'll follow when our reinforcements arrive.
Let's get into the Covenant, Warthog. Because this is totally not a Warthog. No, not at all. It's not a Warthog, it's a Spectre. Even though it controls like a Warthog, acts like a Warthog. It's just a Warthog, okay? Just go with it. It's a Space Hog. The endangered species.
What? The parasite controls our vehicles? No matter. You will die all the same. Keep moving. I'm on my way.
I thought there was a Warthog here. There is! In fact, instead of driving the Space Warthog, let's get the real Warthog! Like, we're getting blasted by, like, everything. Fuck the Spectre. Come on, get in! Hurry up, you worthless idiots! Get in the fucking truck! Get it! Well, you know what? Since he didn't get off the gun, he deserved to die. It's Darwinian evolution in action. Holy crap, I didn't remember that! I did not remember that at all. Maybe we should have stayed in the Spectre. See, like, I didn't remember the fucking Flood having a tank. Icon of Sin. Oh my. Let's see. DVD set. Yeah, it is a really good show, but really, really, really dark. Batman the Animated Series is just dark enough for me. Because Batman Beyond got really bleak. Like, super bleak. It meant that Batman himself had a really bad ending. You know, where he ended up lonely and old. It just was sad. You know, he did all that crime fighting for nothing. But whatever. It makes the most sense, unfortunately. Covenant sounds. Commander elite from small soldiers. And yeah, Mark Hamill is the real Joker. See, back in 2008, when everybody was all like, The Dark Knight is the greatest movie ever, man. Heath Ledger is the Joker. I was like, you know what? Mark Hamill is still the best. This game is frustrating on any difficulty other than normal. That is one thing that is for certain. And this is precisely why I'm playing it on normal, so I can actually pay attention to the chat and the game. And also always hijack the Wraith. Always hijack Wraith. Or smash into the... I think we're supposed to go in there, if I'm not mistaken. I seem to remember there being another area here, but maybe not. Yeah, let's just lob a couple of plasma shots through there just in case. Christian Bale's barking isn't the worst. The biggest problem with the Dark Knight trilogy really is the fact that it's too realistic for its own good, and thus is pretty boring. And that's more Christopher Nolan than anything else. I say that, and I've got a Dark Knight Rises poster on the wall, but it's a really nice poster. But I never really liked the Dark Knight trilogy all that much. I've seen all the movies, but it's really just not something I'd go out of my way to watch. And I'm just gonna straight up say that I enjoyed The Batman a hell of a lot more than I did any of the Dark Knight movies. Beat it on Legendary once? Yeah, you would be yelling FML, that's for sure. I tried this on Heroic and wanted to throw the controller out the window. And I gave up. Yeah, but I think he had like... He had the power glove. It was so rad. I think he did legitimately have a power glove, though, to bend that barrel. But, you know... It was supposed to be a little more realistic, you know. a number of hockey pads and the like. Ultimately, it just wasn't that great to me. And Dark Knight Rises wasn't bad, but it was ridiculously slow, and also had an issue of how would an American city be taken over by one guy and a couple of APCs? It just doesn't really work. But then again, it was a northern city, so nobody had any guns. Oh, anyway, let's ignore that. That is one of those issues, though, where like, wait a minute, they're just gonna let them take over the whole city? And then, like, they have, like, those show trials. Did, like, all the Gothamites get, like, amnesty after that was over with? Because if they did, that's gonna cause a lot of problems. Because they committed a lot of murders, and I don't even want to know how many, oh dear. Hey, thank you, Flood, for being really stupid. Damn it. Aha. Thank you, Flood, for being really stupid. Oh, really? He's literally gonna hijack me back? And then I got shot by a shotgun and died. Let's see. Nolan Trilogy also had the worst looking Gotham City. Yeah, it just looks like a generic city. Batman Returns. Ugh. Okay, so a number of years ago, I actually did a review of Batman Returns for Christmas. I'll give you 2 guesses as to why no one's ever seen that review. And if you guessed that the fucking recording crapped out on me at the very end of the recording, I've recorded a lot of audio with Audacity. I recorded a 30-minute video on, or audio recording on Batman Returns, along with the Joker, because this was shortly after the Joker came out. Both died in the same day, and I finally figured out what the goddamn problem was. It was something to do with the microphone. One of the settings was slightly, ever so slightly misconfigured. To say that I was pissed off, a substantial understatement. Substantial. Essentially, I was in the Joker video. I gushed about it like everyone else did, and the Batman Returns video, well, I know it's a lot of people's favorite Batman film, but I'd actually say it's vastly inferior to Batman 89. The biggest problem with Batman Returns is the fact it tries to do too much. There's too many villains, and there's just... the plot is nonsensical. Like, legitimately nonsensical. It's like capturing the Firstborn. Really? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Penguin is, in my opinion, just not a good character. He's not that scary. And he's also kind of nonsensical. Basically, the determination I made was that they needed to choose. Either have just the Penguin and Catwoman and get rid of Max Schreck, or have Max Schreck be the Penguin instead of having Danny DeVito show up, because it's just too much going on at any one time and it falls apart. Oh, crap. Yeah, dodge that, motherfucker. And yeah, Batman 89 is my favorite Batman movie, to the point where there's a YouTube video where they replace some of the music from the Batman, and the Batman 89 music works absolutely perfectly. Let's see. But yeah, Batman Returns was once a movie that was kind of legendary because I never actually got to see that movie when it came out. And then I never rented it, so by the time I was like 18, I finally acquired it. And I thought it was great, but when I finally came back and looked at it with a critical eye, it just didn't really hold up. You know, I've never actually seen Matilda. I was aware of it back then, but I never watched it. The actress has aged remarkably well from her child actress days, and didn't actually go nuts like a lot of those do. I think there's some bastards over here, and they got rockets. Oh crap, I am so dead. Yep, I'm gonna die because there's no way I can get cover in time. Yep. Mrs. Doubtfire. Now that's a movie I watched the shit out of as a kid. Still have the VHS. And, you know, American Psycho, I don't remember anything about the plot of that movie. But I actually did go to the local Alamo Drafthouse and saw it in theaters, and I don't remember anything about it. That along with Memento, which, if I'm not mistaken, was also a Christopher Nolan movie, which was remarkably not bad, but holy crap, the fans of that movie, though, have their heads so far up their own ass, I have no idea how they're able to breathe. Because the people that love that movie are like, it is so intelligent, man. It's like the greatest ever, man. It's like, it was okay. It's like, it's not like this god-tier movie that somehow makes you a space brain because you watched it. Okay, let's just run past, as we are wont to do. I'm invisible, you can't see me. You're not a xenomorph. After Matilda, she and Lindsay Ellis had a falling out. I'm not surprised that Lindsay Ellis would have a falling out with her because Lindsay Ellis is kind of a nut. All those Channel Awesome people were insane. So painful. Death, yeah. I imagine it would be. Rick and Morty. Oh god, I never even saw that show, other than just a couple of clips. And apparently the fans of that show are really, defensive about it.
More humans. They must be after the icon. On your way, Arbiter. I'll deal with these beasts.
Yeah.
I see that coward didn't join you. I'll do what I can to keep the flood of her back. We cannot let the humans capture the icon. The higher-ups do not look kindly on failure. I go restless without a target.
Oh, they don't, do they, Tartarus? But, yeah, Phaelus was still pretty good. Lupa, I think, had some issues. I actually was on a website with Lupa many years ago before she became popular. She seemed nice enough. But evidently she likes to cause a lot of issues on the old twatters. Phaelus, I think, never actually did anything bad, though. And I could easily see the Lindsay Ellis being one of those people. It's like, that's the racisms! You'll be arrested for that. Since I'm sure she lives in California. Probably could be. Actually, some people have been arrested for that. There was a case not too long ago where this guy got carjacked and complained about the carjackers, and I just got knocked to my death. And he got arrested instead of the criminals, so... Because that makes sense, but it's California, so...
I grow restless without a target.
As a distressed watcher, sold out and started supporting woke censorship. Yeah, I mean, come on. Anybody who's woke, who is woke in the past, is of course going to support censorship because they have to. Because their ideology is insane, and, well, they don't want any opposing views, because any opposing view is generally more intelligent than what they got. I think the Amazing Atheist also just looked like, well... Not to put too fine a point on it, like he was going to be on the registry. He just kind of had that look. Oh, crap. I think these Flutter can be on the registry. And they got the tentacles. Oh, agnostic libertarian. Most people for being this. Yeah. In all reality, though, there's not as many stupid people as you'd think. It's primarily just people who are stuck on Twitter. They get, like, radicalized by all that because they have nothing else to really do in their lives. From what I have read, the people who commit most of those insane woke crimes are generally single unmarried men who are, you know, fairly young, although the age is climbing higher due to the aging population. But it's primarily unmarried men that do that, which to a certain extent makes sense, because they don't really have any ties to the community. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Encyclopedia Dramatica, I haven't thought about that in like 5, 6, many years. It's like, oh dear. One thing I find funny about that Encyclopedia Dramatica, they were already talking about the channel Awesome Insanity long before it became popular to do so. Halo 2 might have been rushed, because like this segment here is definitely a rushed thing. It's like, okay, we'll put them on an elevator and they'll stay there and fight waves of enemies. It'll get more time, okay? We're on a crunch. Can't get away from it. If 1 and 3 more will pop up, yeah. Survival of the most idiotic. Yep, that is true. I feel like the soundtrack of this game is probably the best in all of Halo. I like Halo 3's theme more, but pretty much all the music in Halo 2 is like the best. But people are starting to call out more of the woke nonsense, so it'll hopefully go away 20 years from now. When you consider like non-woke movies get popular, like that Top Gun thing, although I never cared about Top Gun, so it's like, yay, more Crom Cruise. The only thing Tom Cruise that I actually cared about was Edge of Tomorrow. That was a legitimately entertaining film.
The library of our lore. The humans are already inside, Arbiter. After them. I'll watch them through.
Of course you are, Tartarus. Tartarus is a dick. It's like, even the Covenant wouldn't shoot their own people most of the time. Or pretty much any time, because even they're not that stupid. Too many defend a single. And yeah, well, then again, this is a way to pad out the game. When you only got 10 months, it's like, okay, we'll just stick you on an elevator, send you through some of the same areas. You just gotta get it done. One day, I guess I do need to do Metroid Prime. We'll just have to see, because I'm not going to get anywhere in that game. You can definitely see the graphical glitch where the shots don't go anywhere near the enemy half the time, and the frame rate just dies. Smack him. Well, all my elite buddies are dead. Good. One day I will get into the Riddick games. I never played them before, but I kind of want to give them a try. I quite liked the Riddick movies. Even Chronicles of Riddick. Chronicles of Riddick at least tried something new. I mean, turning Riddick into a space hero? I mean, why not? That was okay. Judi Dench is like some sort of air elemental. I mean, okay. And then the third Riddick movie was alright. I'm surprised it had as good a continuity as it did.
You know, your father never asked me for help either.
The index is secure.
Mackenzie, Perez, how's our exit? You hear me, Marines? Or you got trouble? Damn! How you doing?
Sergeant, stay down! Johnson, you all right? Johnson!
Excellent work, Arbiter. The Hierarchs will be pleased. The Icon is my responsibility. Was your responsibility. Now it is mine. A bloody fate awaits you and the rest of your incompetent race. And I, Tartarus, chieftain of the brutes, will send you to it. When the prophets learn of this, they will take your head when they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
What is that?
I am a monument to all your sins.
They gave the thing lips in the anniversary edition, though.
Relax. I'd rather not piss this thing off.
Demon. This one is machine and nerve, and has its mind concluded. This one is but flesh and faith, and is the more deluded. Kill me or release me, parasite. But do not waste my time with talk. There is much talk, and I have listened. Through rock and metal and time. Now I shall talk, and you shall listen.
Greetings! I am 2401 Penitent Tangent. I am the monitor of Installation 05.
And I am the Prophet of Regret, Counselor Most High, Hierarch of the Covenant.
A reclaimer? Here? At last! We have much to do. This facility must be activated if we are to control this outbreak.
Stay where you are. Nothing can be done until my sermon is complete.
Not true. This installation has a successful utilization record of 1.2 trillion simulated and 1 actual. It is ready to fire on demand.
Of all the objects our lords left behind, there are none so worthless as these oracles. They know nothing of the great journey!
And you know nothing about containment. You have demonstrated complete disregard for even the most basic protocols.
This one's containment. And this one's great journey are the same. Your prophets have promised you freedom from a doomed existence. But you will find no salvation on this ring. Those who built this place knew what they wrought. Do not mistake their intent, or all will perish as they did before.
This thing is right. Halo is a weapon. Your prophets are making a big mistake.
Your ignorance already destroyed one of the sacred rings, demon. It shall not harm another. If you will not hear the truth, then I will show it to you. There is still time to stop the key from turning, but first it must be found. You will search one likely spot, and you will search another. Fate had us meet as foes, but this ring will make us brothers.
We are, all of us, gravely concerned. The release of the parasite was unexpected, unfortunate, but there is no need to panic. In truth, this is a time to rejoice. A moment that all the Covenant should savor. For the sacred icon has been found. With it, our path is clear, our entry into the divine beyond guaranteed. The great journey is nigh, and nothing, not even the flood, can stop it.
Boo.
Boo. Kill the demon!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Halo 2. So, actually, I'll go ahead and keep playing because I do want to comment on that cutscene real quick. The first time you ever fight the brutes.
The better.
Okay, so the brutes are first introduced in Halo First Strike, where they're way tougher than this.
They don't have shield generators, but take them out before it's berserking.
They would actually get rid of this, I think, in Halo 3, where they would go nuts and try to kill you. This is another one of those where they're trying to pad out the game time by sticking you in this room. But yeah, so Gravemind and the whole...
Oh, I don't think so.
So, until now, we had no idea why the Covenant were doing anything that they were doing, and Gravemind wasn't even really a thing, although Captain Keyes in Halo 1 was kind of being turned into one. But, it works, but you kind of can tell it was sort of a convenient way to make this make sense. But I gotta say, Gravemind is pretty creepy, but he comes completely out of nowhere. He's an example of, we've got to keep the plot moving, we have 10 months to finish this whole thing, we'll make Arbiter and Chief meet up with Plant Monster, we'll just make a Plant Monster. It works, but if you really look at it with a critical eye, you can tell that they were running out of time, and so they had to make it work somehow. It doesn't feel like natural storytelling, instead it feels like they just kind of did it. It's like, it's where something in the plot happens because they need it to happen, not because it would organically happen. And these brutes are tough. I'm not sure if fur would help you survive, a plasma blast, but, well, Wookiees could do it, so why not? In the West End games, the Wookiees could, take, a lightsaber
Put me down
to
on
the
one
chest.
of the pedestals near the door.
Let's see. Nerfed in Halo 3. Actually not fully removed. Okay.
That prophet, Truth, he has the index. You've got to take it from him. Let me get these doors. Go. It'll be easier to track Truth if I stay in the network.
And this is a sad thing. If she didn't stay in the network, you'd be able to leave
Don't
with her.
worry, pick me up later.
Don't make a Master Chief a promise you can't keep, Cortana. It's like, don't make a promise you can't keep. And you just did. How could you? I think I'd rather date like your younger sister. Actually, your younger sister's really annoying. Fuck. Chief, don't simp. Don't simp. She's a nut. She's just gonna break your heart.
Right this way.
More awesome music. High Charity is a very impressive set of levels, though. Legitimately impressive. I do love the Brute Plasma Rifles. They're like the Elite Plasma Rifles, only faster. No one needs a high-capacity plasma rifle, okay? It's a weapon of war. Where was that little bastard? There he is. Zappa. Yep, I can hear him growling. If you try to play this on a higher difficulty level, I know that guy's gonna be an asshole. St. Bernards are there built like tanks. Actually, they're more intelligent than that. They're like able to design. Actually, in the Clone Wars, the real Clone Wars, I think they had some kind of hyperspace pathways that ObiWan and Anakin used at the very end of it, I think. But I could be wrong about that. I haven't thought about the Clone Wars in a long time. The real Clone Wars! But the Gravemind reminds me a lot of a boss from Super Metroid, the plant boss. He's not a very...
Right
he's
this
not...
way.
He's a boss, like, not even towards the end of the game, like, towards, like, the first quarter. I never really got that far in Metroid, or Super Metroid, I should say. Never could find those power bombs. Alright, next week, we'll play some High Charity, but until then, I am GeneralLotz, and I'm going to wish you good Super Metroid, or whatever makes you happy.